People of God, today we stand on the authority of Psalm 112 and we declare that righteousness produces results. This is not wishful thinking. This is covenant alignment. When you fear the Lord and delight greatly in his commands, your life becomes a landing place for increase. Wealth and riches are not chasing you to overwhelm you. They are coming to serve purpose, establish legacy, and confirm God's faithfulness in your house. Hear this clearly: prosperity is not random, and it is not reserved for a few. It is a response to alignment. God blesses what he can trust, and today he is strengthening your trustworthiness, sharpening your discernment, and positioning you to steward increase with wisdom and peace. What was delayed is aligning. What was resisted is yielding. What was blocked is opening. Psalm 112 declares that wealth and riches will be in your house, not as pressure, but as provision, not as temptation, but as testimony. Your household is becoming a place of stability, generosity, and blessing. God is establishing you so that your finances reflect order, your decisions reflect wisdom, and your future reflects promise. If this word is resonating in your spirit, engage with it right now. Like the video and subscribe to the channel for daily prayer and declarations that keep your faith activated. Write Amen in the comments as a declaration that wealth and riches are entering your house. And comment one thing you're believing God for today, because agreement releases movement. Now lift your expectation and move forward with confidence. You are not striving for increase, you are aligning with it. Your seed is producing, your obedience is speaking, and your house is being established. Wealth and riches are entering, peace is remaining, and God is being glorified through the fruit that is manifesting in your life. When righteousness becomes alignment rather than appearance, it creates an atmosphere where increase is not forced but attracted. Righteous alignment is not about perfection. It is about positioning. It is the decision to bring your thoughts, motives, choices, and priorities into agreement with God's order. When alignment is present, resistance decreases. Wealth and riches are not chasing chaos, they are drawn to order. Psalm 112 reveals that prosperity is not an accident of circumstance, but a response to a life rightly aligned with God. Righteous alignment begins internally. Before finances shift externally, the heart must be ordered internally. When values are clear, decisions become stable. Stability invites increase. Many struggle financially not because God is unwilling to bless, but because disorder creates leakage. Alignment closes leaks. It brings clarity to spending, discipline to saving, wisdom to giving, and peace to decision-making. Wealth flows where structure exists. Alignment changes how you view money. Money is no longer a measure of worth or a source of security. It becomes a tool entrusted for purpose. This shift removes desperation. Desperation repels wisdom. Alignment restores calm. Calm sharpens discernment. Discernment protects increase. God entrusts wealth where it will not replace him, but reflect him. Righteous alignment attracts wealth because it establishes trust. God blesses environments where trust can be sustained. Trustworthiness is not proven by how you handle abundance, but by how you steward scarcity. Alignment in lean seasons prepares you for increase in abundant ones. When God sees consistency, he releases capacity. Alignment also governs motives. Motives matter because wealth amplifies what already exists. If fear governs the heart, wealth magnifies fear. If pride governs the heart, wealth magnifies pride. But when righteousness governs the heart, wealth magnifies generosity, wisdom, and peace. Alignment ensures that increase enhances life rather than complicates it. Righteous alignment invites favor. Favor is not effort-based, it is relational. It opens doors that labor alone cannot open. Alignment keeps favor active because it ensures humility remains intact. Humility preserves favor. Pride exhausts it. God releases wealth where favor will not be abused. Alignment also stabilizes emotions. Emotional instability often leads to impulsive decisions. Impulse undermines stewardship. Alignment produces emotional regulation. Regulation protects resources. Protected resources grow steadily rather than disappearing quickly. Righteous alignment affects how you respond to pressure. Pressure often exposes misalignment. When alignment is strong, pressure does not force compromise. Compromise blocks flow. Integrity keeps flow open. Wealth is attracted to integrity because integrity ensures sustainability. Alignment also influences timing. Wealth released prematurely can damage character. Alignment prepares you to receive at the right time. God's timing protects both the gift and the receiver. When alignment is present, patience develops. Patience preserves increase. Righteous alignment attracts wealth because it aligns with God's nature. God is a God of order, consistency, and faithfulness. When your life reflects these qualities, it mirrors his nature. God is drawn to environments that reflect him. Wealth follows reflection. Alignment reshapes habits. Habits determine outcomes. Financial habits formed in righteousness create long-term stability. Stability invites growth. Growth attracts increase. Righteous alignment also governs generosity. Generosity is not random giving, it is intentional blessing. When alignment is present, generosity flows without fear. Fear blocks generosity. Generosity multiplies wealth. Alignment ensures generosity is wise and sustainable. Alignment removes comparison. Comparison creates dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction leads to reckless pursuit. Reckless pursuit leads to loss. Alignment grounds contentment. Contentment protects peace. Peace allows wealth to remain without becoming a burden. Righteous alignment changes how you see opportunity. You no longer chase every open door. You discern which doors align with purpose. Purpose-driven decisions preserve wealth. Purpose prevents distraction. Alignment also influences relationships. Relationships can either drain or multiply resources. Alignment draws relationships that add value rather than extract it. God connects aligned people to aligned provision. Righteous alignment produces consistency. Consistency builds trust. Trust attracts opportunity. Opportunity produces increase. Alignment teaches restraint. Restraint is not limitation, it is wisdom. Wisdom protects increase from misuse. God entrusts wealth to those who understand restraint. Alignment removes fear of loss. Fear of loss leads to hoarding. Hoarding blocks flow. Alignment fosters trust. Trust keeps flow active. Righteous alignment also affects how you speak. Words shape expectation. Aligned speech reinforces faith. Faith attracts provision. Negative speech undermines trust. Alignment strengthens obedience. Obedience keeps you responsive to God's direction. Direction leads to opportunity. Opportunity leads to increase. Righteous alignment attracts wealth because it creates capacity. Capacity is not only financial, it is emotional, spiritual, and mental. Wealth requires capacity. Alignment expands it. Alignment produces discipline. Discipline protects resources. Protection preserves growth. Righteous alignment removes chaos. Chaos repels increase. Order attracts it. Alignment shapes vision. Vision guides resources. Guided resources multiply. Righteous alignment produces peace. Peace stabilizes wealth. Alignment strengthens patience. Patience sustains growth. Righteous alignment builds legacy. Legacy thinking preserves wealth beyond one generation. Alignment guards integrity. Integrity sustains favor. Righteous alignment invites God's involvement. God's involvement ensures multiplication. Alignment transforms desire. Desire becomes purpose-driven. Righteous alignment stabilizes identity. Identity not rooted in money remains steady. Alignment strengthens gratitude. Gratitude attracts more. Righteous alignment guards against excess. Excess distracts. Balance sustains. Alignment fosters humility. Humility protects increase. Righteous alignment attracts wisdom. Wisdom preserves wealth. Alignment nurtures faith. Faith sustains endurance. Righteous alignment removes striving. Striving exhausts. Trust restores. Alignment aligns timing. Timing protects growth. Righteous alignment creates stewardship. Stewardship sustains blessing. Alignment establishes peace in the house. Peace protects prosperity. Righteous alignment attracts wealth because wealth recognizes order, responds to discipline, and remains where wisdom governs. Alignment is not loud. It is consistent. Alignment is not rushed. It is intentional. Alignment is not forced. It is cultivated. Alignment does not chase wealth. It attracts it. Righteous alignment attracts wealth and riches because it creates an environment where increase can arrive without destroying peace, where abundance can grow without corrupting character, where provision can expand without overwhelming purpose, and where God can entrust more knowing that what he releases will be stewarded with wisdom, humility, gratitude, and faith, allowing wealth to enter the house not as pressure or pride, but as stability, legacy, generosity, and evidence of a life ordered under God's righteous design. When God blesses what he can trust and steward, he reveals a principle that governs increase far more than effort ever could. Trust is the currency that invites expansion. Stewardship is the evidence that trust is safe. God does not release abundance to impress. He releases it to establish order, peace, and purpose. When trustworthiness is present, blessing flows without strain because God knows the increase will be handled with wisdom rather than impulse. Trust begins in the unseen places of the heart. Before money ever multiplies, motives are weighed. God watches how you handle what you already have, how you respond under pressure, how you make decisions when no one is applauding. Trust is proven in consistency, not in moments of excitement. Stewardship formed in quiet seasons prepares you for visible increase. God's trust is not fragile. It is deliberate. He entrusts resources to those who have demonstrated discipline, patience, and humility. Stewardship is not about how much you manage, it is about how faithfully you manage it. Faithfulness attracts responsibility. Responsibility invites expansion. Expansion becomes sustainable when character is stable. When God blesses what he can trust, fear loses authority. Fear-driven handling of resources creates instability. Trust-driven stewardship creates peace. Peace allows clarity. Clarity improves decisions. Decisions guided by clarity preserve growth. God's blessing does not come to create anxiety, it comes to establish rest and order. Stewardship teaches restraint. Restraint is often misunderstood as limitation, but it is actually wisdom in motion. It protects resources from being consumed by impulse. God entrusts more to those who understand timing. Timing ensures that increase does not arrive before maturity. Maturity keeps blessing from becoming a burden. Trustworthiness is revealed in how you handle pressure. Pressure exposes habits. Habits reveal priorities. Priorities demonstrate alignment. God blesses alignment because alignment reflects his order. Disorder drains resources. Order multiplies them. Stewardship also governs attitude. Entitlement repels blessing. Gratitude attracts it. Gratitude recognizes God as the source, not self. When gratitude remains active, trust deepens. Deep trust invites greater responsibility. God blesses what he can trust because trust creates partnership. Partnership requires agreement. Agreement requires obedience. Obedience keeps stewardship aligned with purpose. Purpose gives meaning to increase. Increase without purpose often leads to emptiness. God avoids that by entrusting more only where purpose is clear. Stewardship involves planning. Planning is not lack of faith. It is an expression of wisdom. God honors preparation because preparation respects provision. When resources are planned for, they are protected. Protection ensures longevity. Trustworthiness also shows up in boundaries. Boundaries guard resources from misuse. God entrusts more to those who can say no when necessary. Saying no preserves capacity. Capacity allows growth. Stewardship shapes generosity. Generosity that flows from trust is intentional and sustainable. God blesses generous hearts because generosity reflects his nature. But generosity without wisdom leads to depletion. Stewardship ensures generosity strengthens rather than weakens. Trust is also revealed in patience. Impatience often leads to shortcuts. Shortcuts compromise integrity. Integrity sustains favor. God blesses integrity because integrity keeps blessing from being corrupted. Stewardship teaches evaluation. Regular evaluation prevents drift. Drift leads to loss. God entrusts resources to those who regularly assess and adjust. Adjustment keeps growth aligned. God blesses what he can trust because trust ensures that increase will not replace him. When resources become a substitute for dependence, blessing becomes dangerous. Stewardship keeps dependence on God intact even as provision grows. Trustworthiness is visible in learning. Teachable people grow. Growth expands capacity. Capacity invites increase. God blesses those who remain teachable because learning protects progress. Stewardship also involves rest. Rest prevents burnout. Burnout wastes resources. God values sustainability. Sustainable growth honors him. Trust is reflected in how you handle correction. Correction is guidance, not rejection. Those who receive correction remain aligned. Alignment preserves trust. God blesses what he can trust because trust creates stability. Stability allows multiplication. Multiplication without stability collapses. God avoids collapse by entrusting increase gradually. Stewardship shapes vision. Vision directs resources. Resources directed by vision produce impact. Impact honors God. Trustworthiness also governs transparency. Transparency invites accountability. Accountability strengthens discipline. Discipline sustains growth. God blesses what he can trust because trust removes fear of misuse. When misuse is unlikely, safety invites flowship, refines focus. Focus prevents distraction. Distraction drains resources. Focus multiplies effectiveness. Trust is demonstrated in consistency. Consistency builds momentum. Momentum attracts opportunity. Opportunity produces increase. Stewardship also protects identity. Identity not tied to resources remains steady. Steady identity handles increase well. God blesses what he can trust because trust allows him to remain involved. Involvement ensures guidance. Guidance prevents loss. Stewardship honors process. Process builds capacity. Capacity sustains blessing. Trustworthiness influences relationships. Trust attracts trustworthy connections. Connections open doors. Doors lead to increase. Stewardship removes haste. Haste creates error. Error leads to loss. God blesses patience. Trust is strengthened through obedience in small things. Small obedience prepares for greater responsibility. Stewardship also includes humility. Humility keeps the heart open. An open heart receives guidance easily. God blesses what he can trust because trust reflects his character. God is faithful. Faithfulness attracts faithfulness. Stewardship teaches contentment. Contentment prevents reckless pursuit. Reckless pursuit drains resources. Trustworthiness guards integrity under pressure. Integrity sustains favor. Stewardship ensures that increase does not compromise values. Values preserve legacy. God blesses what he can trust because trust protects peace. Peace sustains joy. Stewardship turns blessing into impact. Impact multiplies influence. Trust grows through faithfulness over time. Time tests stewardship. Past tests invite promotion. Stewardship keeps gratitude alive. Gratitude keeps perspective balanced. Trustworthy handling of resources invites God's continued involvement. God blesses what he can trust and steward, establishing increase where discipline, humility, patience, and wisdom govern decisions, where gratitude remains active, where integrity is protected, where obedience is consistent, and where resources are managed with purpose rather than impulse, allowing blessing to expand without chaos, favor to rest without pressure, and provision to grow steadily in a life position to carry more without losing peace, clarity, or alignment with God's enduring design. When wealth enters the house to establish legacy and peace, it reveals that God's intention for increase has always been generational, not temporary. Wealth in this context is not excess without direction, it is provision with purpose. A house is more than a building, it represents family, influence, atmosphere, values, and continuity. When God releases wealth into a house, he is not merely improving lifestyle, he is stabilizing future, strengthening structure, and creating space where peace can dwell without competition. Legacy begins with mindset. If wealth is viewed only as personal comfort, it will always feel insufficient. But when wealth is seen as a tool to establish stability, wisdom, and continuity, it gains meaning. God releases resources to houses where long-term thinking has replaced short-term impulse. Legacy thinking shifts focus from immediate gratification to enduring impact. This shift protects wealth from being consumed by momentary desire. Peace is a key indicator of God-centered increase. Wealth that arrives without peace creates tension, anxiety, and division. God does not bring provision to introduce chaos. He brings it to settle the house. Peace means decisions are not rushed. Conversations are not strained. Relationships are not pressured. When wealth establishes peace, it becomes a stabilizing force rather than a disruptive one. A house established by wealth and peace becomes a place of order. Order reduces stress. Stress often comes from uncertainty and instability. God uses provision to remove constant survival pressure so that clarity can take its place. Clarity allows families to plan, communicate, and build together. This cooperative atmosphere is essential for legacy. Wealth that establishes legacy also creates opportunity for instruction. Instruction shapes values. Values guide choices. Choices determine outcomes. When financial pressure is relieved, space opens for teaching wisdom, discipline, and responsibility. God's provision creates margin, and margin allows growth beyond survival. Peace in the house also guards relationships. Financial strain is one of the greatest sources of conflict. When God brings wealth with peace, arguments decrease, patience increases, and understanding deepens. This relational harmony is part of the blessing. God cares about the health of the house as much as its provision. Legacy wealth is intentional. It is managed with awareness of impact. Every decision considers how it affects the next generation. This awareness shapes spending, saving, giving, and investing. God entrusts wealth to houses that think beyond themselves. Legacy requires vision. Vision keeps wealth from being wasted. Wealth establishing peace also means fear is removed. Fear of tomorrow, fear of lack, fear of instability no longer governs the house. Faith takes its place. Faith produces confidence. Confidence strengthens leadership within the home. Strong leadership preserves order and direction. A peaceful house becomes a place of refuge. Others feel the difference. Peace attracts presence. Presence opens door influence. Influence allows legacy to extend beyond the walls of the home. God uses stable houses as anchors in communities. Wealth that establishes legacy also supports generosity. A house at peace is free to bless others. Blessing flows from abundance, not from anxiety. God entrusts wealth to houses that will circulate it with wisdom and compassion. Circulation keeps wealth healthy. Stagnation creates decay. Peace allows wealth to be enjoyed without guilt or fear. Enjoyment is not indulgence, it is gratitude expressed. Gratitude keeps the heart aligned. Alignment preserves blessing. God wants his provision to bring joy, not stress. Legacy wealth also protects identity. Identity rooted in God remains stable even as resources increase. Stability prevents arrogance and insecurity. When identity is secure, wealth does not distort character. Character sustains legacy. Peace in the house allows children and future generations to grow without constant tension. Emotional security is as important as financial security. God's blessing attends to both. Emotional stability fosters confidence, creativity, and resilience. Wealth establishing legacy also strengthens discipline. Discipline ensures resources are managed wisely. Discipline prevents waste. God values discipline because it preserves what he provides. Preservation is essential for legacy. Peace creates space for vision. Vision guides the use of wealth. Without vision, resources are scattered. Scattered resources lose impact. Focused resources build foundations. Legacy wealth also encourages patience. Long-term goals require time. Patience prevents premature decisions. God's peace slows the urge to rush. Rushing often destroys what patience could have built. Wealth that establishes peace also enhances trust within the house. Trust reduces control. Control creates tension. Peace allows delegation, collaboration, and shared responsibility. Shared responsibility strengthens unity. A house established by wealth and peace becomes resilient. Resilience means setbacks do not destabilize the family. God's provision creates buffers that absorb impact without collapse. This resilience is a gift. Legacy wealth also fosters learning. Learning expands capacity. Capacity allows growth. God often uses provision to create opportunities for education, development, and skill building. Peace allows reflection. Reflection prevents repetition of mistakes. Reflection strengthens wisdom. Wisdom preserves wealth across generations. Wealth establishing legacy also requires boundaries. Boundaries protect resources and relationships. God gives wisdom to set boundaries that preserve peace. Peace guards decision-making. Decisions made in peace tend to be wise. Wise decisions compound over time, building lasting stability. Legacy wealth encourages stewardship rather than consumption. Stewardship asks how resources can serve purpose. Purpose-driven stewardship honors God. A peaceful house becomes a testimony. Testimony does not always speak loudly, it speaks consistently. Consistent peace reflects God's faithfulness. Wealth establishing legacy also strengthens faith. Faith grows when provision confirms God's care. Care builds trust. Trust deepens relationship. Peace allows gratitude to flourish. Gratitude multiplies blessing. Blessing reinforces peace. Legacy wealth also invites accountability. Accountability ensures resources are handled responsibly. Responsibility sustains trust. God uses wealth to establish houses that model balance. Balance prevents extremes. Extremes destabilize. Balance sustains longevity. Peace also guards health. Stress affects body and mind. God's provision reduces stress. Health is preserved. Legacy wealth encourages foresight. Foresight prepares for future needs. Preparation reduces fear. A peaceful house can host others. Hospitality becomes possible. Hospitality extends influence. Wealth establishing legacy also supports creativity. Creativity flourishes in peace. Creativity produces innovation. Peace nurtures communication. Clear communication prevents misunderstanding. Legacy wealth allows time. Time is one of the greatest gifts. Time enables presence, growth, and connection. God's intention for wealth is not noise, but stability. Not pressure, but peace. Not excess, but legacy. A house established in peace resists collapse. Even when challenges arise, peace steadies response. Legacy wealth also protects dignity. Dignity preserves confidence. Confidence strengthens leadership. Peace sustains joy. Joy fuels perseverance. Wealth establishing legacy honors God because it reflects his nature as a faithful provider who builds, sustains, and preserves. Legacy is not built in one moment. It is formed through consistent stewardship, wise decisions, and peaceful living. God releases wealth into houses where peace will remain. Peace is the guardrail of legacy. Legacy is the fruit of stewardship. Stewardship sustains blessing. Blessing stabilizes the house. The house reflects God's faithfulness. Wealth and riches enter the house not to overwhelm it, but to establish it, to settle it, to strengthen it, and to secure its future, creating an environment where peace governs decisions, legacy shapes priorities, relationships flourish without strain, values are passed forward with clarity, and provision serves purpose across generations, allowing the house to stand as a testimony of God's wisdom, faithfulness, and enduring care. When obedience positions finances under divine order, it brings structure where there was strain and clarity where there was confusion. Obedience is not restriction. It is alignment. It is the willingness to trust God's instruction over impulse, pressure, or fear. Divine order is not accidental. It is established through consistent choices that honor God's wisdom. When finances are placed under divine order, chaos loses authority and peace begins to govern decisions. Obedience begins with listening. Many financial struggles persist not because resources are unavailable, but because guidance is ignored or delayed. God often speaks quietly, inviting adjustment rather than demanding change. Obedience requires attentiveness. It slows the heart enough to hear direction that brings order. Order restores peace. Peace sharpens judgment. Divine order brings sequence. Sequence ensures that things happen in the right order, at the right time, and for the right reason. When finances are misaligned, urgency disrupts sequence. Bills, pressure, and expectations demand immediate response. Obedience restores sequence by placing God's instruction first. When God is first, decisions follow wisdom rather than panic. Obedience positions finances under authority. Authority brings protection. Resources without authority are vulnerable to misuse. Divine order establishes boundaries that guard against excess, waste, and compromise. Boundaries are not barriers. They are safeguards that preserve what God provides. Divine order also brings predictability. Not predictability of outcome, but predictability of principle. When you follow God's principles, results may unfold gradually, but they remain stable. Stability reduces anxiety. Reduced anxiety improves consistency. Consistency preserves growth. Obedience shapes habits. Habits determine outcomes. God's instruction often addresses daily habits rather than dramatic actions. Small acts of obedience, repeated consistently, create lasting order. Order attracts peace. Peace allows finances to grow without strain. Divine order restores balance. Balance ensures that no area is neglected. Finances touch every part of life. When one area dominates, imbalance occurs. Obedience brings balance between earning, saving, giving, resting, and enjoying. Balanced stewardship sustains blessing. Obedience also removes confusion. Confusion drains energy. Energy lost to confusion cannot be used productively. Divine order simplifies decisions. Simplicity enhances clarity. Clarity improves stewardship. When finances are under divine order, emotional spending loses power. Emotions no longer dictate decisions. Obedience introduces restraint. Restraint protects resources. Protection ensures longevity. Divine order also brings accountability. Accountability strengthens discipline. Discipline preserves order. God often uses accountability to maintain alignment. Alignment ensures that resources remain under His guidance. Obedience positions finances under divine timing. Timing is critical. Early provision can overwhelm. Late provision can frustrate. God's timing protects both the gift and the receiver. Obedience keeps you synchronized with timing that produces peace rather than pressure. Divine order also guards integrity. Integrity ensures that increase does not compromise values. Obedience keeps values intact. Values shape legacy. Legacy outlasts resources. Obedience aligns finances with purpose. Purpose directs resources. Resources without purpose scatter. Scattered resources lose impact. Divine order focuses resources so that they serve calling rather than convenience. Divine order also stabilizes expectations. Unrealistic expectations create disappointment. Obedience aligns expectations with God's pace. God's pace builds capacity. Capacity sustains increase. When finances are under divine order, fear diminishes. Fear thrives in disorder. Order restores confidence. Confidence strengthens faith. Faith invites peace. Obedience also strengthens trust. Trust grows when God's instruction proves reliable. Reliability builds confidence in future obedience. This cycle reinforces alignment. Divine order protects relationships. Financial disorder often strains relationships. Obedience reduces tension by bringing clarity and fairness. Peaceful relationships are part of God's blessing. Obedience positions finances under wisdom. Wisdom anticipates consequences. Consequences inform decisions. Decisions guided by wisdom protect resources. Divine order also improves planning. Planning under obedience remains flexible. Flexibility allows God to redirect without resistance. Resistance blocks flow. Flow sustains progress. Obedience removes haste. Haste produces mistakes. Mistakes create loss. Divine order encourages patience. Patience preserves growth. Divine order fosters gratitude. Gratitude acknowledges God as the source. Recognition of the source keeps humility active. Humility protects blessing. Obedience aligns finances with stewardship rather than ownership. Stewardship honors trust. Trust invites increase. Divine order also guards peace in the house. Peace is essential for wise decisions. Wise decisions sustain provision. Obedience brings clarity to priorities. Clear priorities prevent distraction. Distraction drains resources. Divine order strengthens discipline. Discipline creates consistency. Consistency builds stability. Obedience positions finances under protection. Protection limits harm. Harm reduction preserves growth. Divine order also teaches contentment. Contentment reduces reckless pursuit. Reckless pursuit leads to loss. Obedience aligns finances with generosity. Generosity reflects God's heart. God entrusts resources to those who mirror His nature. Divine order supports rest. Rest restores clarity. Clarity improves judgment. Obedience refines focus. Focus channels effort. Channeled effort multiplies results. Divine order builds resilience. Resilience allows recovery. Recovery sustains progress. Obedience removes guilt. Guilt clouds judgment. Freedom restores clarity. Divine order creates margin. Margin allows flexibility. Flexibility prevents collapse. Obedience establishes consistency. Consistency invites favor. Divine order strengthens foresight. Foresight prepares for change. Obedience aligns finances with faith. Faith sustains patience. Divine order nurtures humility. Humility preserves trust. Obedience builds confidence without pride. Confidence stabilizes leadership. Divine order ensures that increase does not disrupt peace. Obedience keeps finances teachable. Teachable stewardship grows. Divine order protects legacy. Legacy requires stability. Obedience positions finances under God's care. God's care brings peace. Divine order replaces confusion with clarity. Clarity restores confidence. Confidence strengthens obedience. Obedience maintains order. Order attracts peace. Peace sustains provision. Provision supports purpose. Purpose honors God. When obedience positions finances under divine order, life begins to move with greater ease. Not because effort disappears, but because alignment replaces struggle, wisdom replaces impulse, peace replaces pressure, and God's guidance shapes every decision, allowing resources to flow in a way that preserves integrity, strengthens relationships, stabilizes the house, and sustains increase under His faithful and intentional design. When increase flows with wisdom, generosity, and stability, it reveals that God's design for prosperity is holistic rather than fragmented. Increase is not meant to arrive alone. It is meant to travel with understanding. Wisdom determines how increase is received. Generosity determines how it is released. Stability determines how it remains. When these three move together, provision becomes sustainable and life-giving rather than overwhelming. Wisdom is the first guard of increase. Without wisdom, abundance can create confusion instead of clarity. Wisdom teaches you how to interpret increase, how to pace yourself, and how to make decisions that honor both present needs and future purpose. Wisdom slows impulsive reactions and replaces them with thoughtful responses. It teaches you to ask not only what you can afford, but what aligns with purpose and peace. Increase without wisdom often magnifies immaturity. Increase with wisdom magnifies capacity. Capacity allows you to hold more without losing balance. Balance protects peace. Peace keeps judgment clear. Clear judgment preserves growth. Wisdom also teaches discernment. Not every opportunity is beneficial. Some opportunities drain more than they deliver. Wisdom filters options so that increase is directed rather than scattered. Scattered increase loses impact. Directed increase multiplies influence. Generosity is the circulation of increase. What does not circulate stagnates. Generosity keeps provision alive and active. It reflects trust in God as the source. When generosity flows, fear loses authority. Fear hoards. Generosity releases. Release invites replenishment. Generosity is not reckless giving. It is intentional sharing. Wisdom governs generosity so that it strengthens rather than depletes. When generosity is guided by wisdom, it blesses both the giver and the receiver. God honors generosity that is thoughtful, purposeful, and aligned. Stability is the environment where increase can remain. Stability is not rigidity, it is consistency. Consistency in values, habits, and decisions creates a foundation strong enough to support growth. Without stability, increase feels unstable, unpredictable, and stressful. With stability, increase feels secure and manageable. Wisdom builds stability by establishing structure. Structure provides predictability. Predictability reduces anxiety. Reduced anxiety improves decision-making. Good decisions sustain increase. Generosity also contributes to stability. Generosity softens the heart. A softened heart remains teachable. Teachable people adapt wisely. Adaptation protects against loss. Loss prevention stabilizes growth. Increase flowing with wisdom changes how you define success. Success is no longer measured by accumulation alone, but by peace, impact, and sustainability. This definition protects you from chasing what looks impressive but lacks substance. Wisdom also teaches patience. Patience prevents premature expansion. Expansion without preparation collapses. God often increases capacity before increasing supply. Wisdom recognizes preparation as progress rather than delay. Generosity nurtures gratitude. Gratitude stabilizes perspective. Perspective shapes decisions. Decisions grounded in gratitude tend to be wise and balanced. Gratitude also prevents entitlement, which erodes stability. Stability allows increase to be enjoyed without fear. Enjoyment is not excess, it is appreciation. Appreciation honors God. Honor preserves blessing. Wisdom teaches planning. Planning protects increase from being consumed by impulse. Plans create pathways for growth. Growth without direction becomes waste. Generosity strengthens relationships. Healthy relationships support stability. Isolation increases vulnerability. God often uses relationships to sustain increase. Stability also guards identity. Identity rooted in God remains firm even as resources grow. Firm identity prevents pride and insecurity. Both pride and insecurity destabilize growth. Wisdom aligns increase with purpose. Purpose directs energy. Directed energy produces fruit. Fruit multiplies influence. Generosity ensures that increase does not terminate on self. Self-centered increase shrinks perspective. Generous increase expands it. Stability allows for long-term thinking. Long-term thinking builds legacy. Legacy outlasts seasons. Wisdom teaches restraint. Restraint is not denial. It is foresight. Foresight protects future capacity. Generosity cultivates compassion. Compassion keeps the heart human. A humane heart stewards well. Stability preserves peace during fluctuation. Markets change. Circumstances shift. Stability anchored in God prevents panic. Wisdom also encourages learning. Expanded capacity supports increase. Generosity fosters trust. Trust strengthens partnership. Partnership opens doors. Stability supports resilience. Resilience allows recovery after setbacks. Recovery sustains momentum. Wisdom teaches evaluation. Evaluation prevents drift. Drift leads to loss. Generosity multiplies joy. Joy strengthens endurance. Stability ensures that increase does not disrupt order in the house. Order supports harmony. Wisdom aligns finances with values. Values guide spending, saving, and giving. Generosity reflects God's nature. God entrusts more to those who reflect Him. Stability protects health. Stress damages health. Stable living preserves it. Wisdom shapes expectations. Realistic expectations prevent disappointment. Generosity keeps increase flowing. Flow prevents stagnation. Stability creates margin. Margin allows flexibility. Wisdom teaches adaptability. Adaptability preserves relevance. Generosity strengthens community. Community provides support. Stability nurtures peace. Peace enhances clarity. Wisdom improves communication. Clear communication prevents conflict. Generosity builds trust across relationships. Stability ensures consistency. Consistency builds confidence. Wisdom guards against extremes. Extremes destabilize. Generosity invites gratitude from others. Stability maintains rhythm. Rhythm sustains life. Wisdom refines ambition. Refined ambition aligns with purpose. Generosity prevents isolation. Stability supports leadership. Wisdom protects integrity. Generosity releases blessing. Stability sustains blessing. Increase flowing with wisdom, generosity, and stability transforms provision into purpose, abundance into peace, and resources into lasting impact, allowing growth to unfold without strain, decisions to remain clear without fear, and blessing to extend beyond the moment into enduring legacy. As God's provision is stewarded with understanding, shared with compassion, and preserved through consistent, balanced living that honors both the gift and the giver. Beloved, as we bring this time of prayer and declaration to a close, allow your heart to remain still and settled in trust. What God has spoken over you is not empty words, it is direction, alignment, and assurance that He is actively involved in every area of your life. Carry this peace with you into the rest of your day. Let wisdom guide your choices, generosity shape your actions, and stability anchor your confidence. You are not rushing toward increase, you are walking steadily in it. If this prayer has ministered to your spirit, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel for daily prayer and faith-filled declarations. Staying connected keeps your faith nourished and your focus aligned. Seal this moment of agreement by writing Amen in the comments as a declaration that God's word is active in your life. Also comment one thing you are believing God for today, because expectation activates faith. Remember that God's blessings are not designed to create pressure, but to establish peace. What He releases into your life comes with the grace to steward it well. Move forward without fear of losing what God has given you. The same God who provided it will also sustain it as you walk in wisdom and obedience. Let gratitude remain on your lips and humility guard your heart. These postures protect the flow of blessing and keep your spirit sensitive to God's guidance. Trust that every step you take is being ordered. You are not guessing your way through this season. You are being led with clarity and care. Allow patience to work fully in you. What God is building through consistency and faithfulness will last far beyond this moment. Go forward with calm confidence, knowing that your house is being established in peace. Your increase is being governed by wisdom, and your future is secure in the hands of a faithful God who honors alignment, stewardship, and trust